Today is June the 5th, 2006, and we're talking with Jessie Bryan. And Jessie has been a member of St. Andrew's United Methodist Church since before it was St. Andrew's. She was a member of Grace Church, weren't you, Jessie?
1963.
You joined Grace in 63? And is that when Grace started, was 63?
In Jessie made us elementary school.
So you were there before they even moved onto this site in the elementary school.
In other words, Kim came to my house one afternoon. It was summertime. School was out, and he explained he was starting a new church. And Kate and I were members of Christ at that point, and none too happy. It was a long way to drive for one.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. All the way down at Grace and Charles Street.
Yeah, so we started this little church in August of 1962.
Uh-huh. And it met in the elementary school for how many years before you?
Oh, probably not even a full year before. Well, we brought this property up here, and then the trailer sections were added on.
Where did you get the trailer sections? You remember?
I don't know the company that we got them from, but we bought.
That's pretty probably.
Yeah, there were 6 of them put together to form a sanctuary.
Yeah.
Well, we had a vestibule like that too. And the house was still left up here that we used.
What did you use a house for?
Some classrooms and minister study, that type of thing.
What year? Did you buy the parsonage in that year, or was that a little bit later on?
Must have been more or less about 66, 67 or something like that before we built the parsonage.
Where did, was Arthur Cooley was still a pastor? Was he the only pastor of Grace Church?
No, he was never a member of Grace. I mean, a minister of Grace.
Who was
Jim Goodman was.
Jim who? No.
Tim Goodman, I tell you, but it's Tim Goodman. And when the two churches went together, then the school was given it. And the Grace people were not too happy over that. Because Tim had gotten everything started. In fact, we felt like he was being pushed aside to the point where he left the ministry, you know.
Is that right?
And went to work for a bank here in Richmond after that.
You ever hear from him after that?
Oh yeah, he came back here. If I remember correctly, I think he preached the sermon, the first sermon that St. Andrew's was over.
Have you heard from him in recent years? Do you know if he's still alive? Or?
No.
So he was the pastor from August of '63 until
we went
1968.
with us.
Okay, tell me about those first years. You met in the elementary school. Weren't many people, I would assume.
Well, back Easter of 1964, there were 41 charter members.
Is that right?
Of which Kate and I and Kathy were 3 out of the 41.
How many charter members of that church are still living and active in our church or involved in any way in our church now?
There may be 2 that have come. Ms. Johnson up here lost her son not long ago.
Sheila Johnson.
Well, she was a charter member. And Ms. Drinkwater, she still lives.
Dennis's mother.
Yeah.
Okay.
As far as I know, she was a charter member.
Okay.
See, when the 2 churches went together, I hate to say this, but most of Grace members left.
Oh, they did?
But Kate and I were just stubborn enough, we could work when we shut down there. I used to get out on Sunday morning running all of the neighborhood. At that time, I was not living where I am down Vandover.
Where are you living?
Right across from Jackson Davis.
Mm.
We were one of the first families that moved into West Bryan. And so we were still there at that point, so all we had to do was cross the street. When I get out and go on Saturday to all the neighbors looking for some flowers to go on the altar over there on Sunday morning. And we eventually were able to buy one tray communion set out of aluminum. It wasn't silver in it. It should be back there somewhere. I never have gone looking for it. But then we moved up here. We thought that, well, we didn't. One of the church sections did. Bought the 10 acres up here for us.
What do you mean one of the church sections?
Methodist churches, one of
The
our,
district.
yes, it helps people
Yeah.
do this type of thing, and we bought these 10 acres up here.
And, well, they might have bought it, but they let you pay for it, I can promise you.
Well, I can guarantee you, Kate and my name would have, through the
Yeah.
years, have been on too many things for me,
Yeah.
that could have wiped us out.
Yeah, well, over those years, you've been a trustee for many of those years, and I guess Cater was a trustee.
No.
He never was a trustee, but he ended up signing some notes over the years.
On the old Gracie.
Yeah. Once you moved from the school to, was the first thing, did they have the trailers on the site when y'all moved, or was it just a house?
No, we had to have the trailers to come in before we could move out.
And,
Because see, the house had, well, I guess we could have all squeezed into one room if we had to, but it really wouldn't have been all that convenient. Kayla and my son and a lot of other members came up here and cleared this land of outhouses and buildings and whatever, and we left the house just standing.
that'd been, I guess, the center of an old farm place at one point, with, as
It
you
was
said,
a farm,
outbuildings
yeah.
all around, and, did they have to clear woods also before they built, or?
Some out here to the front where we see where the church is not where the trailers were.
Yeah.
They
Where were
were
the
out
trailers?
here.
Right on Fort King Road?
No, right out here on the hill.
Okay. But they were in front of where the church sits now.
Yeah,
And then where was the house?
back up here.
Further, like behind where the church sits now?
No,
or
more or less almost center of it.
almost center? Okay.
You're asking me to remember a lot of things, you know that?
And you remember them?
Well, I'm not so sure. Because see, when the mergers went through, I was not here a lot.
Yeah.
I lost 5 members of my family in 21 months, in 66 and 67.
So you were running back and forth.
And
to
so
North
the
Carolina.
teacher would cover my last class on Friday afternoons, and I'd head out as far as I could from North Carolina. I have even driven from Durham, North Carolina on Monday morning in time to teach my first class.
Did, so Tim Goodman was the pastor until the merger with Laurel Street.
And then the church was given to Mr. Cooper.
Okay, Mr. Cooley wasn't here, but
About 3 years.
yeah, it was a short period of time, wasn't it?
And then he only lived about 3 years after that.
So, was he alive when this building was finished? But just, it probably hadn't been finished long when he died, had he?
Well, let's see, what year was it? 69, I guess it was finally completed.
No.
See, you asked me one day, why did we have 2 steeples?
That was gonna be my next question.
And the only thing I could figure is we had services and Sunday school in that part back over there first while this was being completed.
Yeah. So the part that is now in 2006, Sunday school classes and the choir room and the busy bee room, was the very first part of the final, or the permanent building that we have now.
Well, see, we had I guess you'd call it a recreational hall.
Yeah.
on that.
Well, it was
So
some-
see,
yeah.
when we redid everything, that went because we had put it down there.
Yeah, but until then, that whole building was really fellowship hall and kitchen, wasn't it?
Mhm.
And so, and in the beginning, while the sanctuary and the part of the building we're sitting in now was being completed, that was the sanctuary, that was the whole church in essence, wasn't it? Because you already had to tear down the house, and the trailers, I guess, at that point.
Well, the trail section went to, where's the youth?
Westview.
Westview. We gave
Yeah.
them to Westview.
And so when was this sanctuary dedicated? Do you remember?
Yeah. June of 1968, I guess it was. No, that was not in 68 either. That was when we unified, wasn't it? We went together.
Well, Laurel Street, the fire at Laurel Street Church was January 15th.
It was February the 8th, 1970 before it was completed.
Yeah. So the fire at Laurel
And then
Street.
we went back in there and did summer.
Okay. Fire at Laurel Street was January of 68. And my understanding is that there was several months before Laurel Street came to grace, or the district said, we think this is a good plan for the two churches to unite and become a new congregation and build a building on the land that Grace had already purchased and was using with the trailers and the old farmhouse. And so all that took place sometime between January the 15th of 68 and what was the date in 70 that you were to me?
March the, we was completed on March of 1971, actually.
Okay.
Oh, no, that's when we bought the new parsonage, excuse me, 1970.
Okay.
See, before all this went on, we had a parsonage back over here that we had bought.
Where was that?
I think I wrote it down, what was it? Colwyn Road.
Oh, right over, even closer to the church than
Yeah.
the existing parsonage on Basswood.
And then, of course, after the merger, we bought Basswood, and that was sold.
Okay.